Okay, I saw this a while ago on Twitter, meant to make a video on it. I forgot, so we're here today. It says, John B speaks on Gunna and Chloe sampling a song They Don't Know for their song You and Me and calls their version ratchet and says he wishes they never put it out. Also, John B makes it clear he can't stand Gunna and Chloe's song You and Me and reveals that Gunna never got his right to redo They Don't Know and tells Gunna they have some business to handle. And so this came out, what, like 6 months ago, or maybe even longer than that. And so my take on this, and a lot of people kind of felt this way, is it's very distasteful. He's very much speaking out of turn, because as someone who's not a part of the Black community and who's making R&B music and catering to Black people, you're a guest in that, okay? And it's important to accept that and everything and not overstep. And I think calling that ratchet and that connotation that it has is very distasteful, okay? You're making a lot of money off of Black people and stuff like that. And so to kind of like punch down at that, I thought it was disrespectful. I thought it was disrespectful, and it kind of led me to the whole thing about cultural appropriation. I did make a video months ago talking about cultural appropriation eras where artists were doing it, but I thought that their music was really good, so I can like kind of look away at it but hold them accountable at the same time. And I kind of wanted to talk about it in a sense where artists have come out and they've said stuff that has been, you know, derogatory towards the Black community and everything, and just artists getting too comfortable in it and just acting like they know best. So I kind of want to talk about that aspect of it as well. I really had to go dig for this tweet for Post Malone. Like, when he first started, he was doing songs like White Iverson and Feeling Whitney. You see he has the braids, like very much, you know, into Black culture and everything, very much getting into that bag. Like, that's who he's appealing to. And then along the way, he kind of decided to change what he was doing, go into more country and stuff like that, but he made sure to diss Black people on the way up. And someone said, fun fact, Post Malone took the hip-hop route because he was a rock singer that kept getting rejected in that space. He was in cosplay until he could get the resources and fan base to actually do the music he wanted to. Yes, he's a culture pusher, okay? So that's kind of some context and everything, and I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that, but yeah, just setting the scene a little bit. I did go and dig for this week because I knew I had it, okay? And so this is whenever he was dissing the Black community, basically. So he says, in November 2017 interview with Polish media outlet Nuance, Malone said that modern hip-hop music lacks people talking about real shit, and added that if you're looking to think about life, don't listen to hip-hop. He was criticized for his comments, including by fellow rappers Lil B and Vince Staples. Malone later appeared in a video on Twitter saying that the reason for his comments was that it was a beer tasting interview. What does that have to do with it? Now you're blaming the alcohol? And going on to say that he loves hip-hop. Nuance, however, denied the claim, saying that Malone barely drank at all during the interview. In the follow-up, Malone went to say what I was saying, that when I want to sit down and cry, I sit down and listen to Bob Dylan and his guitar just like everyone else. No matter how hard you are, no matter where you're from, you're gonna have times where you sit, I can't read that, and reflect on your life and listen to what you want to listen to. For me, that's Bob Dylan. So yeah, like, that was very distasteful. And if you guys have listened to the country album that he did and his other country efforts, let me know what you think. If it's anything like Levi's Jeans, pack it up. You guys know I hate Levi's Jeans, but this was very distasteful. You build a whole audience of Black people, and then you go and diss them and say that, you know, rap music doesn't have any substance. Have you heard of people like Kendrick Lamar, for example? And a lot of rappers are talking about real shit that they went through, whether it's poverty, racism, and just like hard things that they had to overcome. So to act like it doesn't have substance, to act like it can't touch people, I think is really ignorant. There's so many different kinds of rappers out there talking about a plethora of topics, and it kind of just shows your ignorance on the genre, okay? Because they're not all doing the same thing. And so to cultivate an audience like that and to be so disrespectful when they're the one who put you up, I didn't like that. And so that's something I always remember in regards to Post Malone. Miley Cyrus banger era, it fed families, okay? It's one of her better albums. Her record as an albums artist is kind of shaky, okay? But, you know, in this era, 23 wasn't on this album, but that's the song that she did with Mike Will Made It and Wiz Khalifa. That was something that was popping off for her at the time. She had a song on this album, Young Money Party with Big Sean. She had that moment, kind of like the vibe of what she was doing. And then also stuff like We Can't Stop. Like, she was very much getting into that bag and everything. She cut her hair short. The people that she was hanging around with, like, she was very much dipping her hands into Black culture, okay? So that's kind of setting the scene for this era and everything. Big successful era for her. A lot of great songs and everything. And I'm fond of a lot of the stuff that she released during this time. And so she faced backlash for that era and everything. And so in 2017, this is whenever she was doing her Younger Now era. Okay, she was getting white again. She was doing country. She was collaborating with Dolly Parton. Okay, we're setting the scene. And so she said she was no longer a fan of rap music, basically. I also love the new Kendrick song, Humble. Show me something natural like Ask for some stress. She said, I love that because it's not. And then I'm not gonna say it because I don't want this video to get taken down. And she said, I can't listen to it anymore, which it's very ignorant to say, okay? She said, that's what pushed me out of hip hop scene a little. She continued, it was too much Lamborghini, got my Rolex, girl, I'm so not into that. And then she got a lot of backlash for it and everything. And they were just saying, like, she's not in for it because, you know, it's not helping her. Like, she moved on and everything. And so she did apologize on here and everything like that. And also on As Told by Kenya on her YouTube video, because Kenya was kind of talking about cultural appropriation and just problematic people. Sometimes she like mentioned that, but she's a Miley Cyrus fan, and Miley Cyrus commented basically apologizing for the statement. It seemed very sincere to me, and I feel like Miley Cyrus really got kind of her punishment for that, because if you know Miley Cyrus, I always say this, but she flopped for like 10 years afterwards. Okay, she did have some moderate hits, but she really did not pop off again really in the general public until Flowers. Honestly, that's why whenever she released Doctor, and I said this before too, and people were like, oh, I'm surprised Doctor flopped. I'm not. Miley Cyrus has been flopping. That Plastic Hearts era deserved more, but yeah, she kind of deserved to have that flop period, and now she back on top. Now she back on top and everything, but very distasteful. And I like her music and everything, but she has to be held accountable for saying that, because that's ridiculous. Justin Bieber came to mind. A lot of people are fond of his Journals album. Song with that man, we don't acknowledge it, we don't listen to it, but there's some other great stuff on here. I really liked Bad Day, and then some other songs in here were really good. They're kind of like escaping me, but this was a good album. This was a good album objectively. He had stuff like Confident on here, and this was him in his R&B bag. Apparently the label wasn't really into it. They wanted him to go more pop, but he made a good album. Okay, I really like this album at the time. I haven't really listened to it in years, but I'm sure that it holds up. And Justin Bieber's had a bunch of controversies and stuff like that. Some of them are escaping me. I think there's been some controversies on Instagram, but this is one of the biggest ones. This is a video of him, you know, during his One Less Lonely days, where he's saying one less lonely nigger. Like, he's literally saying that in his video and making jokes about the KKK and all that stuff. Like, and some people might say, oh, he was young and da-da-da-da. But it's just like, why say that? And the fact that it's recorded on video and he was singing along to it, like, it was bad. He did apologize for this, but it's just something that we're never going to forget, okay? And I just now found this out, but he apologized for promoting Morgan Wallen's music after learning of singer's racial slur. And this is also something I remembered. He actually like had cornrows and stuff like that, and I'm sure that he has had more. I don't know, it's escaping me, but I'm sure he's had other stuff where it's been distasteful towards black people. And I told you guys I used to stan him, okay? I had to unstan after Purpose because his music was going downhill and he was controversial, and it was a miracle he even got me back, because honestly after Journals he had a lot of controversy. He was peeing in mop buckets, he said fuck Bill Clinton, he was getting arrested, he was doing a lot of stuff he shouldn't have been doing, and I almost fell off. But that promotion for the Purpose era was generational. It was generational. Did a lot of good PR for him, and the Purpose album was really good. But yeah, Justin Bieber is no stranger to controversy in regards to, you know, saying distasteful stuff about black people. So yeah, it's bad. Justin Timberlake came to mind as well. Here's him wearing cornrows, which, I mean, why? And so, like, there's that. I mean, for the most part, he's respectful to black musicians. Like, he was very influenced by Michael Jackson and everything. He had a whole beef with Prince and everything because he had that song Sexy Back, and Prince was like, Sexy Never Left. So he was dissing him on that song with Timbaland and Nelly Furtado, and he was also dissing Janet Jackson. So yeah, he's had his moments where he's just been disrespectful and everything. We know the whole Super Bowl situation, and he was talking about, I think America is really harsh on ethnic people. Janet's black. You can't say black people. Like, what do you mean? And so kind of just felt like he was using that to get him to the top, working with Timbaland and stuff like that. And then it's like, when it's time to stand up for black people, you're not about it. He makes good music and everything. Okay, Future Sex Love Sounds was a great album. He has good music and everything. I think as a person, he has to be held accountable. That's what I always say in discussing him. And so yeah, I hate when his fans act like people don't like him for no reason. There's multiple reasons not to like him. We know he just got arrested because he wanted to go drunk driving so bad. And so yeah, that's something that came to mind as well. Now, there have been some artists who aren't black who kind of make like more R&B music who are beloved by the black community. And so Bruno Mars came to mind. I didn't know he wasn't black until like a few years ago, honestly, but it's something that he's been open about, and he's talked about his inspirations and everything. And for the most part, from what I can see, he's at least been respectful. So I can respect it. I respect it. He's honest about his inspirations and everything. From what I've seen, he hasn't done anything too crazy. If he has, let me know below. So you have that. People are really fond of Tina Marie, so you have to add her into the mix as well. I believe JoJo, a lot of people are really fond of her and her inspirations and what she's came up with. So there's definitely people who aren't black who kind of make that R&B music and stuff like that, and they're respectful and everything. So there is a whole thing with that, and so I think we can have both things coexist. Also, Mac Miller is loved as well. He's loved as well. So let me know what you guys think down below on this topic. Are you okay with non-black people kind of stepping into that as long as they're respectful? Is it something that you don't want? And let's have some bigger conversations on that. But I thought it was something worth discussing.